What is up, Wolverine Nation? I'm Isaac Smolden. We are so glad to have you with us. And I say we because with me, as always, is Parker Hovilla. Parker, how is it going this week?
Can't complain, really. Another day, another penny, getting after it. Just hanging in there, excited for this weekend of hockey, getting ready for Kenai.
Yeah, you're gonna be making the trip down
To
solo
jaunt.
on the bus for. Yeah, I gotta say, I love the home and home because it's just there and back all at once, and we still have some of those, but this is the overnight stay in Soldotna, so I'm excited to hear what you think about the southern hospitality, as it were. There's gonna be some good breakfast. I can promise that.
Well, I got plans to meet up with Grandma and Grandpa on Saturday.
Oh,
So I'm
that's
missing out
right.
on breakfast, but
You're gonna get grandma and grandpa breakfast. It's gonna be better
yeah,
anyway.
it's
No
gonna be
offense
better.
to like Louis or anything, but
Yeah, no
you
offense,
can't
but
beat
it's gonna
grandma
be
and grandpa breakfast.
no. I got a whole plan coordinated, but I am excited to go on the road. Unfortunately, we'll be missing Halloween, but that's all right. We're adults. We'll get through it.
Yeah, what are you dressing up as on the broadcast? I can't wait to watch. I'm super
Oh, I'm
excited.
not dressing up as anything. I'm
What do
not
you
going to
mean?
be on camera.
What do you
I'm gonna
mean?
be rocking a quarter zip and probably a tie.
No,
But
lame.
the other idea I had potentially, you know that the one cop, the new boot goofing from Reno 911.
No, I do not.
Oh, like 2 years ago,
But
I went uh,
I will find a picture of that on the internet and I will put it up
new
right
boot
now next
goofing,
to me.
new boot goofing. I have a picture. My junior year of college, I wore a GCU fanny pack around, and it had all of my supplies for the evening in it.
Uh-huh.
Because the shorts did not have pockets.
No,
Now,
I imagine they would not, based off of
no,
the.
short shorts are. I don't think they're my best friend. I sure haven't worn any of that short in a long time. But
You were in
it
Arizona. You
was
could get away
it was
with
a
a
solid.
shorter cut back then.
Yeah, you can get away with it, and it was 92 degrees, so you're not cold.
Must be nice.
Up in Alaska, kind of chilly. One of my other favorite costumes, I went as a referee. I wore my I stayed true to the bit. I had my helmet and visor on the entire night.
That's like old reliable for me. If you're a
Uh-huh.
ref or a hockey player, how many Halloweens have you dressed up as a ref or a hockey player? Because for me,
My freshman
most
year, I wore
Halloweens.
my own jersey out.
Well, okay, send me the picture. We'll get it in the episode. We probably should talk about the hockey that's happened the last 2 weeks. We'll go all the way back, and I know that it was a much more exciting weekend to talk about this past weekend. So maybe we don't dwell too long about the Ice Dogs weekend. Certainly not the way that we hoped things would play out. A couple tough losses against an in-state rival. And as bad as that loss on Saturday is, I think the crazy thing, Parker, is that the team was right there. I mean, when we were talking about that weekend, we're talking about a team that was in the middle of a 6-game losing streak, a 5-game losing streak at home. But if you go back and watch those games, it's so close. It just boils down to one or two bad turnovers, brief mental lapses. And my hope is that as the season progresses, you're going to see less and less of those, and it's going to translate into more wins.
Absolutely. And, for me personally, I think it starts in the D zone. I mean, I feel like we've talked about that a ton. Just a couple opportunities in that Friday night game that Fairbanks capitalized on, and they came away with the win. Just capitalizing on defensive mistakes, too many odd man rushes. Ernst did his best, and it is difficult when you're constantly getting 2-on-1s, 2-on-0s. That's like a goalie's worst nightmare. But for the most part, I overall liked how they played on Friday. And then on Saturday, they just disappeared for about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what cost them the game ultimately, because the rest of the time they were right there with Fairbanks. They were getting a lot of shots. And getting to those high danger areas as well. I think a couple extra moves, a couple more puck handles than needed, instead of just firing that puck on net and crashing. How did each of their goals come about? From firing the puck on net and crashing. Someone was burying a rebound.
Yeah, both of those. Because you look at that Saturday game, and it's 3-0 in the first period. Not their best first period by any means, but then in the second, 2 quick goals, and they're right back in that hockey game for a second. And like the energy in the building, you could feel people start to get excited. There's been some really great crowds the last 2 weeks. Even this past weekend against Chippewa. Sometimes with the out-of-state opponent, you don't get that. But there's 4,000 people in the building for that Fairbanks game, and it was electric.
It was
the Ice Dogs took a timeout after that second goal that cut the lead to 1, because I think that they recognized too that things were starting to spiral out of control. But then they get settled down. And again, it's just a bad bounce, a 2-on-0 back the other way. They review it. They see it go into the net. They confirm the call on the ice. And the Ice Ducks just kind of never look back. So, would you rather lose that game that way in October or in April? I'd rather lose it that way in October, cleanse the demons, and hopefully the next time that the Wolverines take on the Ice Dogs this year, it's a different story. So I think this past weekend, there's a lot more happy things to talk about, because on Friday, you win 7-2. First win at home this season. And they've had to play some tough teams at home to start the year. I think the Ice Dogs are a playoff team. I think the Wilderness are a playoff team. And they had some problems this week against the Wisconsin Wendigo after they have been off to a blazing hot start to this season. And then you get to play Chippewa, who comes into the weekend 1-8-1, and really both games, and unfortunately we're going to have to talk about Saturday in not so glowing terms, but really on Friday, it was just so obvious that Anchorage finally had the chance to play as the team that kind of was further along in their development, had a little more veteran leadership, had a little more chemistry, had some more pieces figured out. And that 7-2 win was the kind of end result of how dominant they were on the ice on the average shift.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things started coming together. They were putting passes together. It seemed like there was a lot more confidence in the offensive zone, and especially on their breakouts. And they were getting out of the zone very clean. And I think what aided in that was Chippewa playing so far back. Remember, we talked about it during the broadcast, how they were playing a box +1 most of the game, Chippewa was. And really, it was almost like they're on the kill every time the Wolverines were in their zone.
Yeah.
That partially led to more opportunities because there's more ice on the outside. You could skate around and then find that seam pass and get it through the middle. And then we were starting to see kind of what this team was talked about on paper and why it was talked about the way it was. So, these guys are still getting to know each other. And Saturday was a hard-fought game, 54 shots on net. It is not often that you will lose a hockey game when you get 54 shots on net.
And the other team only gets 22. But
yeah,
holy cow, agony. Thy name is Alex Reedy, because that dude made 52 saves on 54 shots. And that's the league website. The advanced analytics, the back end of there actually has an even larger shot discrepancy between the two teams. 59-19, I think, is what it had. And there is no play that more encapsulates how dominant Anchorage was on the average shift, and how unfortunate it was for Anchorage to have to just go against maybe one of the most red hot goalies in any game that we've seen over the past several years. I mean, that is a goaltender. That is a goaltender stealing 2 points for his team.
Yeah, literally. And the crazy part for me about that game was how many rebounds were given up, and the Wolverines just weren't. It just seemed like in that game they'd get the first rebound, the second rebound, and you're thinking, man, one of these is going to go in. And every time Reedy stood and just took every shot and every possible option away, and it was frustrating to watch from a fan perspective, because you're like, man,
oh yeah,
they're pulling them. What was it? The second period, they had 24 shots on net.
26
shots on net.
26
How does one of those not go in?
Yeah.
Like how does more than one not go in? And that being a 2-2 hockey game, absolutely crazy. And then the the building almost coming apart when the Wolverines scored that second goal
Yeah. Yeah, like
on that
everyone just
team
breathing a
finishing.
sigh of relief, right?
Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, they finally broke the deadlock."
Yeah.
And they played a great game. It just ultimately led back to the defensive zone and a little turnover in front. And if you're an everyday player in the null, you're going to finish that puck in the slot right there when you have nobody pressuring you and it's just you and the netminder.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard to talk too negatively about that game because
Yeah.
as unfortunate as it is, with kind of the narratives coming into that weekend for it to occur, that weekend against the Steel, the end result is you dominated the vast majority of that hockey game. But there are two pieces that I think Coach Aikens identified really well on the broadcast. One being that those rebounds that were given up, and they were there, the Wolverines just weren't getting to them quick enough and weren't getting those secondary opportunities on net in a quick enough fashion to really capitalize on what was there. Guys are going to the net, but they're not identifying when that puck is bouncing out. They're not jumping on those secondary opportunities, and so it was a lot of primary opportunities, a lot, 54 shots on net to 22, but not enough of those high-quality secondary scoring opportunities. And then also, as someone that did a game recap and had to watch the goals against frequently, you look at two of those goals, because Chippewa scores two in the first period. That was the only two that they got until overtime. And both the second goal for the Steel and that goal in overtime, puck goes down low, and you see it especially in overtime because there's so much more open ice, right?
Yeah.
Guys getting a little bit lost behind the net. And then once one person's out of position, someone else is trying to fill in, and they're not picking anybody up, and there's a lane to the middle of the ice, and it's just that split second. That's been the story of the season so far, that split second where guys they just don't quite know where each other are. That lane opens up, and it's in the back of your net, and unfortunately, you lose in overtime to the Steel. Now, you do still get 3 points out of a possible 4. And the hope
And you're
is
still moving up the standings. It's better than no points in that game. You come
yes.
away with 1 and more of a learning lesson. And this team, we just have to remember as well, they're young. A lot of these guys did not play with each other last season, and it's going to take a little bit more gelling for them to get into the rhythm of winning and knowing where guys are going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something fans are going to have to expect, but they will turn it around because Anchorage is a playoff team
Yeah.
through and through. All of the past previous years, Anchorage always rights the ship.
Yeah.
And this is just a different story, a different page, a new chapter, if you will. And they got to figure out how to write their way out of it and start the next one and put this behind them. And in January, be laughing about the 6-game skid they went on.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see the playoff shakeout very much like they did last year, where there's a couple teams that are at the top and establish themselves early and are kind of locked in. I think the Wilderness will probably be that. I think the Ice Dogs are looking like they might be one of those teams. But for that 3rd and 4th place spot, there always seems to be, 5 teams that are really fighting for it all the way through February and March. The Steel, even with those 2 points that they got on Saturday, they got their work cut out for them. They gotta string some wins together to not kind of be out of it early.
I mean, they only have 5 points on the season right now.
Yeah, but there's a lot of teams in this division right now. The Brown Bears, the Wendigo, the Junior Blues, and yes, the Wolverines, that are all in a place right now, and lump the Jets into that conversation as well. They're all kind of figuring things out. Sometimes they'll look dominant, like Friday night. Sometimes you drop a game that you outshot a team 54-22. And it's not all going to happen all at once. You just got to start stringing some wins together here and there. You got to stay in the mix. You got to stay in the fight. And I think right now, if we look forward to the next 2 weeks, you're at a really pivotal point in the season, because you've got 2 of those teams that I think are going to be competing for those bottom 2 playoff spots that are coming. You're playing the Brown Bears in Soldotna, and then you've got the Junior Blues coming up for a 3-game set. I really want to see the Wolverines skate away with 6 out of 10 points. You'd love it if you get more, but if you can get a split against the Brown Bears on the road, fantastic. Keep the momentum rolling forward. You're starting to get some points in the state. Then you got the Junior Blues for a 3-game set. You got to make that building, got to make the Sullivan the toughest place to play in the league. Because right now the crowd's there, right? The fan support's there. It's always tough to fly up to the state of Alaska and play 3 games on an Olympic-sized sheet of ice in front of way more people than you're used to. Use that momentum, make some progress, keep taking steps. And they've been taking steps the last couple of weeks. You get 4 out of 6, and then you're getting ready for a stretch that I think is going to be a little bit more challenging. Wendigo at home, Ice Dogs in Fairbanks, but maybe you have some momentum to carry forward into some of those opponents that I think are going to be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to get more game experience, and they're going to continue playing together. They're going to be able to skate together more in practice this week, next week. They get the games this weekend, games next weekend. It's snowball effect, just continuing to grow the ball, so to speak, and get it rolling in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So next week, the Junior Blues back at home. That'll be the next time folks can show up to the building. But before we get there, you can watch Parker down in Soldotna, the first 2 games of the season against the Kenai River Brown Bears. 7:30 p.m. puck drop, Alaska time, live and on demand, natv.com. I'm going to be watching both games. Parker's going to be getting to do some play-by-play, which is exciting. I love when it's not just me.
I'm going to be battling the Kenai faithful for prime seating so I can see the whole ice.
Yeah. The following weekend, Parker and I are back together at the Sullivan. We hope to see all of you there. Tickets.anchorageWolverines.com. Take advantage of those Wolverine Wednesdays, man. I mean, you are getting a steal of a deal.
That's the hottest ticket in town. You can't 100%. Get anywhere. You can't get in anywhere else for cheaper than that.
No. And those games take place Friday, Saturday, and then there's the Sunday game. So Friday and Saturday, 7:30 p.m. puck drop, then a 4 afternoon start on Sunday. And if you're not going to be there in person, we still love to have you with us live and on demand, natv.com. Watch with Parker and I. It's always a good time. Even when things aren't going right on the ice, we still find a way to have a good time. And when they are going right on the ice, it's even more fun. I love when things go right.
It's a great time. And when, sometimes you got to spruce things up, we knock out a couple food reviews.
Yeah.
You never know. It's like Guy Fieri out there.
You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Really, we're going to entertain you any way that we know how. Cut that part. That doesn't sound good. Showmanship. There you go. Yeah. What else are you going to do on a Sunday afternoon other than go watch the Wolverines game?
Exactly.
All right, Parker. I think that's all I got. I'm sorry that I won't be able to hang out with you on Friday, Saturday, but I'm looking forward to watching with everyone else. And then I'll see you next week.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Enjoy Halloween.
Yeah, will do.
Have a couple beers for me because I'll be working.
Will do. Yep, that's my plan.
And, we'll get back after it, Back in the Sully, back where it should happen. And look at both our ugly mugs on NATV.
Yeah, not that many. The first half of this season is really flying on by. Like when it gets to December, there's not going to be any more games from like December to second week of January. So this next month of November, now is the time to make sure you're at the Sully because then what are you going to do? You're going to have a month and a half where you can't watch hockey at the Sullivan even if you want to. Get
exactly.
down there.
Exactly. And no one's going to be coming to my men's league games there. So
no, they're not.
No,
definitely not.
Nobody. Plain Arena empty. I'll tell you what, it's discouraging.
Wolverine Nation is recorded and edited here at the My House Youth Drop-In Center recording studio in Wasilla, Alaska. For Parker Hovilla, I've been Isaac Smolden. Stay safe. Go Wolverines.